Welcome to the Wild West. Today we're going to be playing a game called The Tin Star by Steve D. In this game, you play as the sheriff and an outlaw in the 24 hours leading up to their inevitable shootout at high noon. All you need to play the game is a deck of cards, your imagination, and of course the PDFs to accompany the game, which you can find the link below. This game can be played in whatever setting suits your fancy, whether that be cyberpunk or high fantasy, but today we're going to be playing it as rules written in the Wild West. So grab your hat, grab a deck of cards, and a pint to drink, and let's go. Before we begin, make sure you remove the Joker cards from your deck. You won't be needing them at all. So the game is set up like a game of Pharaoh. The game was very popular back in the Wild West as a form of gambling and just general entertainment. In a standard game of Pharaoh, you actually need 52 cards plus 13 so that you can build your actual play area. But that's not how you do it in this game. In this game, you'll actually be, as you draw, building the town. Each side ends up becoming either side of the town, with the center being effectively where the high noon takes place. So let's get started. Our sheriff. The Three of Clubs. Our sheriff is a deadly man, somebody who grew up in the outs, kind of a recluse. Their parents were miners, and as such, didn't really live within the town, and resented everybody who had wealth and had security in their upbringing. They grew up very transient with their parents, and in such became very angry, and are now very harsh with their judgments. We have our soda card. Our soda card sits out as an unknown factor. Prevents people from counting cards in Pharaoh, but in this case allows for a little bit of unknown. Then we have our outlaw. Our outlaw is the son of the pastor. After living a quiet life in the church and seeing all of the money and wealth go to those in need, and not very much of it coming into his own pockets, the son of the pastor defects from his father and is now seeking a life of riches. So, high noon, 24 hours before the day, the outlaw shows up and informs the town that in 24 hours, he'll be back with his gang. He'll kill everyone on sight. It's not true, necessarily. Probably won't. But it's a threat to see where people go and where people end up sighting. So, the first 24 hours. We deal 2 cards. One is the player card, one is the dealer card. The left will be player, the right will be dealer. This only matters in the event that we pull 2 cards that do not pertain to either the sheriff or the outlaw. So, it looks like, in this hour, we find out who is an ally of the outlaw. The outlaw goes to the jail. And while everyone is scrambling to get ready and to prepare for this inevitable attack, they go and bust out a buddy. An old friend of theirs, somebody who's been locked up for a couple of months now, and brings them back to the gang. This is their number 1 ally. Second hour. Oh. That's exciting. I'm gonna put this over here. Bringing them back to the gang. The outlaw monologues. Tells them how the town is full of riches. There's still diamond flowing in the mountains. There's still plenty of opportunities for them. And he is going to take them all to meet the riches that they all deserve. Hour number 3. After the first couple of hours, probably drinking or so, the sheriff goes to the slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse is known for its blasé opinion of life. And being the deadly man that the sheriff is, knows that he can count on the owner of the slaughterhouse, to be an ally, and to make sure that the town stays in line, and that no usurper takes things from them. Meanwhile, the outlaw goes to the mayor. He intends to rough up the mayor, but instead is met with the butt of a shotgun. The mayor's wife is having none of this. He's found himself an enemy at the mayor's house. Tells him to get. If he sees him again, she'll shoot him himself. Hour 4. Annoyed and dejected, the outlaw goes back to his gang and they start brainstorming. It doesn't seem like the entire town is quite afraid of them as they would like them to be. It's okay. They have other means. They rally the people, they have a few drinks, they have a few laughs, and get back to it. Or 5. The sheriff finds himself out in the woods. He's alone. We find him at an altar. It's an altar to his parents and his own beliefs. He's not scared, he's kind of excited. He paces wildly and is ready for the blood. After that, he goes to the church. He talks to the pastor, expecting the pastor to be on his side, as this is the pastor's son, and the son has denounced the father. Instead, the pastor very firmly tells him that he is on no one's side, and that this is not God's will, and their battle is a fruitless one. Building out a little bit more of the town now. We have the farm. The farm used to be a family of miners. They ended up settling down after making enough money and an unfortunate accident, and built a farm and built a home that they could call their own. One that is based on love. Hour 9. This card tells us some of the branches of this building. It is very much attached to... And in that moment, the footage kind of corrupts for like a few seconds, which is unfortunate. But what I was saying is that the card shows that there is a branch to another location. In that one, I believe there's an old feud between the farm and the slaughterhouse. One that still fuels the slaughterhouse to this day. Time for hour 10. Curious. The sheriff's having another monologue out in the wilderness. He's sharpening a knife. He knows that bloodshed will happen, and he does not intend for it to be his own. This is his town, he has claimed it, he has earned it, it is his right and his passage, and he has made it his own. And he will kill whoever tries to get in his way. Hour 11. The outlaw goes to the poorhouse. He spent a lot of time there, outside of the church, with his father and with some of the different congregation. He watches them eat hot food that people have donated. And his greed is what drives him to be the person that he is. His greed is what drives him to hate the people in this poorhouse. He doesn't believe that they deserve to eat the food that they do. And this is the reason he's here for the sheriff. Hour 12. The saloon was a passion project. This card talks about its roots, where it came from, how it got here. This was, in fact, a passion project for the owner of the saloon. When he got here, there wasn't a whole lot. It was a bunch of people living in tents. There was starting to be a building made for the mayor's house, and for a means of keeping peace. There wasn't much else. Everything was still very new. And he knew the one thing that people needed more than anything was music, games, and alcohol. And so, out of the pure love of people, made himself a saloon. And it's been standing ever since. Hour 13. Jack of clubs. When the sheriff was young and lived out in the camp, and had that transient life, he found himself meeting resistance when he claimed that he was going to own property one day and be some one day, and one of the biggest bullies in his life now owns the ranch. And he never has done anything. Not really. But the owner of the ranch knows just what he can do, if even a toe goes out of line. As he watches the rancher notices him and stops. You can see the hair prick up the back of his neck, and his relaxed demeanor as he's setting up for this stupid shootout that's going to occur. Tenses. And the fear that the sheriff brings this man is the reason he stays and fights. Hour 15. The sheriff spends some time in the bordello. Although the women know that he is not a good man, he keeps them safe, specifically the madam. She ensures the protection of her loyal doves, but nevertheless knows that she cannot step out of line against him, and will not do so. Though reluctant, is still an ally. Hour 16. King of Hearts. This one is another branch card. And for this one, I'm going to say that the mayor married one of the older daughters of the farmhouse. They deeply care for the people in the farm and look out for them. And that's also why the mayor's wife has a little bit of a rougher edge. She doesn't take any shit. Hour 16. It's the dead of the night. The outlaw is incredibly confident in both their capabilities, in his capabilities, and the capabilities of his gang. He knows they're gonna win. He has no fear. Because of that, he's getting drunk right now. He is partying it up with his compatriots and having one last drink before they take over. 17. The sheriff goes to the court. He's looking to ensure security, more or less. And in the process, finds that the judge of the courthouse and the bailiff have both left. They will not be his allies. They will not stand by him in this. They're tired of his cruelty, and they are not going to be caught in the crosshairs, regardless of how full of shit the outlaw is. 18. Before the judge left, he went to the saloon. Though he believes that the outlaw isn't going to kill everyone in town, he still isn't willing to take chances. And he asks the owner of the saloon to go with him. They've been close over the years. Very close. And now the two of them, with the bailiff, have all left town. Hour 19. As unlikely as it is, the outlaw finds a compatriot with the farmer. More than anything, the farmer is tired of the cruelty and the fear that the sheriff is bringing, and would rather see someone else in charge, even if it is for greed, than continue living underneath the thumb of the sheriff. Or 20. This is the poison. The poison for the mayor's house. Though on the surface they seem calm and collected and good, they also harbor darker secrets. A debt collector has come and is demanding the money the mayor owes. It is not one that he owes directly, one that his grandfather took out many years ago to help start this town. One that his grandfather never paid. Now that debt collector is here. And the interest has really racked up. It causes a fissure in the family. And though the wife doesn't say it, she's not sure how long she'll be around. Especially if this doesn't get mended. 21. The sheriff goes to the poorhouse. He expects to be greeted with what he believes is the respect that he deserves. And instead is met with a locked door. He expected the people in the poorhouse to be too afraid to stand against him, or too afraid to leave, too cowardly. But instead, it seems as though the entire town is not fully under his thumb. The pastor has made sure that they had a safe way to leave. 22. Two hours before high noon, and the sheriff goes to the general store. It's still open. They haven't quite left yet. But they are looking to close up before all of this goes down and head into the basement. Before they do that, though, they sell the sheriff a fresh thing of ammo and some gun oil. 23. Unbeknownst to most of the people in the town, the poorhouse also has a hefty secret. Those who are orphaned, who don't have a home, who don't have a family, are often adopted. Or so it would seem. They are sold off to labor companies, never to be heard of again. Final hour. The bordello has ties to the saloon, as most do. It's not uncommon, but this one's a little bit different. For the past 3 years, they have been providing a sort of cover for the judge and the owner of the saloon. On nights when they get girls, they find themselves alone in a room together, and nobody asks questions. The town is quiet as the church bell tolls noon. The sheriff and the outlaw come through the center of town. Their guns are primed on their hips. It's time to figure out who wins the town. So now, you have 3 cards. The sheriff, the outlaw, and the soda. Discover who wins, take the cards, and shuffle. Who are you hoping wins? Neither of these people are good people, not in this story. I played it once before, and had an outlaw who was certainly had more morals than the sheriff did. This one, it seems as though both the sheriff and the outlaw are a little on the greedier side of things. Comment below to tell me who you want to win, and if there's any interpretations you would have taken differently. Now, this is where fate comes in. 3 cards laid before you, shuffled thoroughly, and you get to decide. Today, I'm gonna pick this side, the right. It is neither the sheriff card, nor is it the outlaw. Instead, both draw their guns and fire. The bullets soar through the air. Those who are watching from their windows or from hidden spots swear that the guns fired at the same time. And they did. And no amount of fresh ammo or gun oil could save the sheriff. And no amount of luck or pride could save the outlaw. In the end, they both lost. Now the question is, how will the town handle the outcome of no sheriff? They have a chance to rebuild. There are certainly those who have better moral standings than the sheriff did. Perhaps the rancher will step up. Having learned from their days of a bully on how to treat people a little bit better, especially after being under the thumb of somebody who was certainly cruel. Perhaps they won't reassign a sheriff at all. I don't know. And that's the Tin Star. This game can be played over and over and over again. There's countless different variations and different interpretations that you can have for each individual card. You can form different connections for different people. The possibility is really entirely up to you. Do you think you're going to play the game? If you are, definitely check out the links below. Now until the beginning of March in 2022, there is a bundle called the Solo But Not Alone, which has 102 individual solo TTRPG games, which we will be going through for the next good chunk of time. So check it out if you're interested, and you'll be getting the 10 star along with that. And if you like this video, like and comment below. I hope you had a great time. This is a fun game. I really recommend it. Even if you don't get the bundle, the link below will also take you to the itch.io link for the actual RPG. So check it out, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, never be afraid of a little bit of chaos. Bye!